And now Joe Biden and the radical left are trying to impose the same system, socialism plus, in America. Biden is a puppet of Bernie Sanders, AOC, the militant left.
But arguably, Trumpism is something akin to a fascist social and political movement. And at the very least, we have massive use of fascist tactics.
From the moment the Constitution was signed, George Washington recognized the dangers of political parties, but his warnings were ignored. Today we see a growing divide in American politics.
1948 was an era of mixed parties with a lot of white Southern Democrats in powers, and it was less ideologically sorted. Then the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Acts were passed, which caused a lot of the Dixiecrats to leave the Democratic Party and become Republicans. As this happened, ideology and party becomes increasingly intertwined. When Reagan becomes president, he really utilizes the Christian right, which furthers ideological divides by combining religious and political values with ideology. Then in the 1990s, Republicans took control of Congress for the first time in 40 years. In the 2000s, America was polarized because of the war on terror, which was led by George Bush after being united due to 9/11. Then Obama was elected as the first Black president in 2008. This symbolized white America's loss of control while other groups gained power. Then in 2016, we have the election of Donald Trump. He has a very unprecedented use of social media, which drove attention. Even if the news was negative, he inevitably drew the media's coverage that day, which also drew the public's attention to him.
We can see the effect of polarization in the ideological makeup of Congress. A few decades ago, members of Congress had overlapping beliefs which allowed for cooperation and compromise. However, in recent years, they've become much more divided. With the balance of power changing so frequently and neither party ever being dominant, it creates an all-out partisan combat for control. The political elites in Congress and their unwillingness to look beyond party lines directly affects the polarization that we see in our daily lives, and it's only getting worse.